Okay, so this will take us up to Mercury. Right now, we've been having this conversation with Fiona McGlynn, who is an astrological apprenticeship student. She's just nearing her 4th year of study at AshevilleVedicAstrology.com. And we've been talking about Libra. We've talked about Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. And today, we're going to go ahead and discuss Mercury for a Libra ascendant. So Mercury. When we think about Mercury, Mercury rules the 9th house, and Mercury rules the 12th house for a Libra ascendant. Mercury is exalted in the 12th, and Mercury is debilitated in the 6th. Okay, so knowing that, let's start with the idea of Mercury ruling the 9th and the 12th house for a Libra ascendant. What are your thoughts on that, Fiona?
Yep. Well, good. We like it, right? This is nice. We like this combination. This is good. The 9th house is a trine, so this is a good start. And then the 12th house is neutral house. So it's going to take the lead from the strongest trine, the 9th house. So it's lifting up the 12th house as well, which in a way didn't need to be lifted up because Mercury, the planet that we're speaking of, is exalted in the 12th house. So this is, I think they're kind of feeding each other here in a really good combination. Yeah. But then what I think this for a Libra ascendant reinforces one of the themes that we have been speaking about through the videos, which is that it's going to say that this 9th house of purpose and a sense of meaning and marriage is linked with this 12th house energy of liberation, of spirituality, of the bigness of the next step beyond this realm. So it really, for me, resonates quite a spiritual energy, this 9-12 together. And why I think that is one of the themes we've been speaking about with Libra is because of this idea of making decisions that lead to our highest fulfillment. How handy is it to have your 9th and 12th aligned if you want to make decisions that lead to your higher fulfillment? It seems to me like that goes very well for Libra. What do you say there?
And if you remember, I know it's been a year since we've gone over this, but in the apprenticeship program, the 3rd class in year 2, which is the mathematical yogas course, we kind of went over the ideas of what are like yogas that lead to moksha, liberation.
Yes, exactly.
What are yogas that lead to success in the world and those sorts of things. And what we see is that in a sense, just like we have Raj yogas, like these kind of royal combinations, well, for a Libra ascendant, Mercury is actually the planet that is a natural Moksha Yoga creator.
Right there. Yeah,
right. And the reason I'm focused on this is because, yes, you can say, well, any planet ruling the 12th is a Moksha indicator. However, what we learn in the course, and you know this, I'm just sharing it for the people who are listening, is that for a Moksha Yoga to be a real Moksha spirituality yoga, it has to be linked to a Dharma house.
Nice.
So we've got Mercury ruling the 12th, which is a Moksha house, and we've got Mercury ruling the 9th, which is a Dharma house, which shows that through mercurial type of endeavors, that is going to lead to a capacity for true liberation, true freedom, things like inquiry, things like mantra meditation practice. These mercurial things will help lead the Libra ascendant. And you mentioned relationships and marriage.
Yes.
Just like in the video with Saturn, we have Saturn debilitate in the 7th house, right?
Yes.
And we typically think of Libra ascendants as being very relationship-oriented types of ascendants, right? But now we've got the 9th lord that deals with marriage and deals with long-term commitments, ruling over the 12th, which shows that part of what they're learning to do is to kind of dissolve this over-attachment to being overly idealistic and these sorts of things. And again, looking at Saturn being exalted in the 1st, Venus being exalted in the 6th, Jupiter being exalted in the 10th, all this leads to, for Libra ascendant, as they follow their Dharma and they know what's true for them, they fulfill their spirituality, their moksha, they have better relationships, and they're of better service to the world. So I just find it fascinating as we go through the planets for each ascendant, and we really start to learn what are they about, rather than these sort of like cookie cutter ideas that most people think of for them. So
yes.
Anyway, I didn't mean to go on that.
No, that's great. Yeah, and I think it's a real insight around that, the 9th and the 7th, because we talked about how difficult the 7th could be for a Libra, but really there's a bit of a key here that in the recipe itself, that if you're using your marriage as a tool for self-realization, for that moksha experience, then you're going to improve the physical relationships in the 7th, like the actual to and fro, the trade in the 7th. So fantastic.
Yeah.
But when we take it to exaltation and debilitation, we're back in this 6-12 Rubik's Cube mess of Mercury is exalted in Virgo, right? The 12th house, that's what we said. And that means it's going to be debilitated over there in Pisces, Jupiter's sign. So I'm struggling for insights here.
Well, if you...
We got it there.
Hopefully people are picking up, if they've watched some of the previous videos, on the fact that there is oftentimes this kind of nuanced opposition or contrariness between things like what we're seeing here with Mercury being debilitated in the 6th and exalted in the 12th. You know, we've got Venus exalted in the 6th and debilitated in the 12th.
That's right.
But one of the things that this kind of leads us to, the understanding, the idea, is that, remember, Mercury is the manager.
Yes.
Mercury likes to manage things.
Yes.
Okay. And part of the difficulty is that when a Libra ascendant tries to, say, micromanage their purpose, their path, their marriage, 9th house things, and they try to micromanage it with sort of 6th house routine-like energy.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. What happens is things break down. Or when they try to micromanage their moksha, and Libras can be very good at this. They can be very like, okay, I get up, I meditate at this time, I do this, I've got this schedule. That is applicable to things like their health. That is applicable to things like their financial well-being, because of the previous things we've discussed. It's applicable to things like relationship to their children, their home, and their property. But when it comes to their spirituality, that is why they do better with a surrendered, oftentimes devotional approach. And you sometimes think of, say, inquiry or inquiry meditation as being not devotional, but it actually is, because just like if you want to learn all you can about your beloved, your spouse, you really want to focus on them and understand them, right? And you might not necessarily be able to fully mentally comprehend them, but you can still love them. Right?
Yes.
And that's what Mercury is calling this person to do, to have a sense of freedom, surrender, letting go these 12th house things, Mercury being exalted in the 12th, for not only their spirituality, but also their purpose, their marriage, rather than trying to micromanage everything. Does this make sense?
It does. It does. And it goes nicely with Venus being the ascendant lord that has already got that devotional energy.
Right.
So it kind of heightens or plays up that. But then it also speaks to maybe some of that, what can be debilitating as well, would be the Mercury being distracting for Venus that's already distractible. Like the two of them together can...
Right. Yeah, and the other kind of nuance to that is when you have Venus debilitated in the 12th, oftentimes what a person wants to do is it's about extremes. They take it too far.
Yes.
They want to completely lose themselves in their relationship or in the marriage or in their purpose. And so they have to, again, look at Venus exalted in the 6th, which means that in this situation, they're starting to weave together the fact that in the daily, everyday things, I bring my devotion.
Yes.
Right? It's in those daily, everyday things I bring my devotion. So it's wonderful as we get into this to kind of see these nuances, but it really paints a more detailed picture of what each ascendant is really dealing with. It's not just black or white, which is why you'll find out, should you decide to start doing sessions and people write to you and say, oh, my Venus is in this sign, tell me all about it. And you just want to pull out your hair and say, it's not that easy. There's so much more to it, So anyway, I think this is a wonderful. I think what we've done so far with Libra has really helped to illustrate just how complex charts can be.
Yes, it has, and that fine balance that Libra is always having with this 6-12 or 10-4, and
Right.
Yeah.
And even taking it a little step further, taking the idea of the 12th house as being like a place of retreat or a hospital or a place of healing. This is also why you might find Libra ascendants potentially being like nurses or nurse practitioners in, say, like a cancer ward or in some kind of hospital ward, because they're taking that Mercury and they're bringing that managerial capacity into 12th house places. They might be in charge of retreat centers or marketing strategies for spiritual organizations or web designers in this regard. So it's always, trying to figure out just how are these threads all put together, and it can be kind of complicated.
Yeah, but that's a great way to put it together. It's fascinating.
Well, any final thoughts on Mercury for a Libra ascendant?
Oh, no, I have no final thoughts. I think I'm at brain fry with Mercury for ascendant. So I look forward to reflecting on that more.
Yeah, and those of you who are watching this video at home, again, if you have any questions about this stuff, go ahead and put it in the comments below, and I will again encourage Fiona to dig in there and help you work through those things. So
stretch my learning. Thank you.
Yeah,
good. I'm looking forward to that. Thanks, Ryan.